Hello, you wonderful creatives. I'm Ash from Ash Writes Lots, and thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a while. I know. And today I want to talk about the infamous 365 Days movie and how it's helped me out a little bit with understanding, defining my premise for my stories. You might want to subscribe because you never know when I'm coming back because it's been a while. I got a lot of updates I need to do, especially about like Black Halloween-a-thon. I got to update my books. Oh my gosh. I leave and come back, my back, go in and go out. And then when it goes in, I'm working on stuff like homework because I decided to go back to school like I'm going to be a professional student for the rest of my life because the way those student loans work, I don't know if I should get out of school. But anyway, yes, please subscribe if you want to see more of me. I hope you like this video. So let's go ahead and get started. I have notes. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to be looking down. Oh yeah. So I did do an unboxing video at least. I got a lovely notebook. It has a bookmark. Go find it on Ko-fi. I hope you like it. I don't know. All right, so 365 Days is a Netflix movie that took the world by storm back in June of 2020. Now, I did watch it right around the time it came out. It is a movie that's based on the trilogy by Blanka Lipinska. It's the first book, anyway. So we know there were going to be more. Funny thing, it was made and released in Poland back in February of 2020. But it didn't have great reviews, and Netflix was like, baby, everybody needs to see this movie. So they pushed it. And thank you, Netflix. I have definitely learned my lesson. But basically, it was one of those movies that, for me, made me wonder why I was watching it. For me, it made me wonder, how did I get roped into this and what was going on? The only reason why I kept on watching it was because I had just a small hope that Laura would realize how horrible Massimo was and leave him. That's where I was. So spoiler alert, that's not what happened. And guess what? I knew that was not what was going to happen, but I really wanted it to happen. Or at least I really wanted it to be a better reason for the things that were going on. And yeah, unfortunately, no, that's not what happened. I'm just so mad that I watched it. And I know that I'm probably going to be just really want to watch it probably, and I don't want to watch it right when it comes out. I'm probably gonna wait a little while, watch it, the new one anyway. But a lot was going on in that movie, and a lot of it was bad, and a lot of it I can't really even talk about because we're on YouTube. But I will say that for most of that movie, I was really upset, angry, yelling at the screen. That's really normal because I do watch bad movies on purpose sometimes, and then it's just so bad, something happens, and I'm yelling. Or it's so bad I'm laughing really loud, talking to the screen. I'm one of them people. But I only do it at home. I don't do it in the movie theater. But this was one of those situations. And I was like, ooh, man, what's going on? Considering the fact that I want to become a prolific writer one day. And I keep on playing around writing all these short stories. And I'm working on a novel with 2 of them now. Which I really should hunker down and finish one. But that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that later. But I really enjoy breaking down the inner workings of stories because I want to be able to create stories that have wonderful inner workings that people can pick things out of and realize certain things or get pleasantly surprised, but know that they could have figured this out sooner or something like that when it comes down to the kind of stories I tell. And it can be a blessing and curse when you do this kind of stuff, watching movies, watching videos and things like that, because you break down the story and you're like, this stuff doesn't add up. And not to sit here and say that you have to be a writer or somebody who's trying to become a writer, or anything like that. It's just something that if you understand stories, you like stories, that's just it. You just understand that certain things have to be in place for you to be able to continue a story, to at least lay it out. And one of the things that you want to start with that you get interested in is the log line or premise of the story. And let me get my note because I got it written out. I want to read the Oh yeah, I got my notes in my handy dandy notebook. They're on Ko-fi if you want to get one. But I have my little note here of the one sentence summary for 365 days, and I want you to listen to it and see if you picking out any issues. I'm gonna put on my sexy voice here. So let's see. A woman falls victim to a dominant mafia boss who imprisons her and gives her 1 year to fall in love with him. It was a sexy? I don't know. Anyway, to be honest, I did not read this premise before I watched the movie, and I really should have. There was some big old red flags in there, and it was at least 3 of them in there. And I will say that the cover art, like the cover on Netflix, the little teaser video they give you, and the fact that it said it was a 99% match to my viewing history. How? Like what have I been watching for this to 99% match me? What have I been watching that was super duper sex and naughty with a side of torture, basically? Like it wasn't even, because it wasn't BDSM. It was. I'm so upset. Either way, yeah. So that's something I should have read. And when I first thought about the premise, that I should have been obviously reading the premises before I start watching the movie. I watched the movie, was just upset. My mom asked me about the movie, and then I was like, rant activated, upset. This is some bull. I cannot believe they let this happen, because they obviously spent some money on this movie, and they spent some money to make this. And I know they spent a lot of money to make bad movies, and I know this guy's like some money laundering kind of things going on, stuff like that. But I'm like, man, you make a real pretty movie and then you make it's horrible. So after laughing and crying about the stuff that I was talking about with the movie, my mom was like, hey, so what would you do to fix it? What would you do to change it? Would you write a story like that? And I was like, oh my goodness, where would you start? And obviously, premise. So you gotta start with that. So basically, your premise is like the log line, the one sentence summary. All of these are the same descriptor. Blake Snyder in his Save the Cat book states that it's the starting point of the story, while Randy Ingermanson, who I am using for the snowflake method in order to write my novel right now, says it serves as a glimpse of the big picture of the story. So this just kind of helps to guide me while I'm writing, and also doubles as an interesting way to introduce a story to a possible reader or viewer in this case. So 3 things popped out to me in that particular logline for 365 days. Falls victim, imprisonment, and 1 year time limit for falling in love. So having one of the pair being a victim of the other doesn't exactly fit into a healthy romance to me. In this instance, Laura is kidnapped for the sole purpose of being with Massimo. Like, as in, I'm kidnapping you in order to be in a relationship with me. I mean, how is that a relationship? The power dynamics are like super duper off. If it was for something like protection, maybe, or if it was a part of the job, and like say if Massimo was a bounty hunter, mercenary, something like that, or something happened to where he would have to have this person, and it would be kidnapping in the base sense of the word, but it wouldn't be kidnap. Like, I don't know if I can articulate this. I wrote this script, but either way, it wouldn't be complete kidnapping. It could have been, and maybe he was doing some kind of job. He had to get this particular person because of a bounty or something like that, and realized that some foul play going on, and yeah, you fall in love because you straighten all that kind of stuff out. Boom. Anything could have happened. It just, in this particular instance of the story, he's just selfish. He's taking Laura's anonymity away from her. She is a possession. She is to be collected and displayed on a shelf for him and his pleasure. That's it. It ain't right. Laura isn't Laura. I'm going to say that. Laura is not an individual with thoughts and feelings in his world. She is a object. The fall in love aspect with the time limit is kind of the reason why the movie imitates a erotic romance. And no, his way of going about her falling in love made me think more of Stockholm Syndrome. And I know a lot of people have made these type of comparisons, but it was immediate. If you just go by the base definition of the syndrome, it is basically when the kidnappee develops irrational love for their kidnapper. Like, they're the caregiver, they're keeping them protected. They have scared the crap out of them and done probably horrible things, but then psychologically beat them down in order to get them to submit and things like that. So that's how it really seemed to me. Like, I know a lot of people were making comparisons from Beauty and the Beast to 365 Days, and I'm like, there are some key differences in those two stories. Like, I love the Beast. I couldn't stand him when he turned into the prince, but loved the Beast. Loved it when I was a kid. Still enjoy the Beast. But even though it was an unjust imprisonment of Belle's father, that was at least a start, because it was unjust imprisonment because obviously he's not a law, for one thing. I mean, I guess he's a prince. I guess kind of, sort of. But he's not exactly the current law of the land. And he also is doing something that was just extreme for the crime. You know, like roses, stealing roses. I mean, I know royalty, they did that kind of stuff. But in the sense of him, there being no subjects and stuff, it was kind of strange. So trading the daughter for the father, that was weird too. But hey, at least he had some type of reason. In this instance, like I said, Laura is a freaking object for Massimo. Like, he wanted to collect her. He wanted her because she was his angel when he got shot through his dad beginning and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, okay, whatever. But you could have courted her. You could have talked with her. You could have shown her that her boyfriend was a butthead and gone from there. But anyway, neither here or there. Okay, so Belle, like I said, Belle was not kidnapped. She was not there. She went there as a trade. It was unjust. Blah. We can get into the intricacies of the two different styles. Every argument when it comes down to Stockholm Syndrome. I am not a therapist. I am not a psychologist or anything like that. I'm just going by the base definition. And I feel like in this case, 365 was worse. And in order to try to work out a better premise, I think it was a good challenge to add in, or at least stick to the elements that were presented in the movie. So you had, like, the sales company that Laura worked for. In which, did you know she worked for a freaking sales company? No, you had to do like one little the thing in the beginning. I had to read on the premise of the character information, but that was what the company was in the beginning. And then you had the new mafia boss situation because dad got killed. That's a get shot. BDSM elements. Then rival families, protection needed from those rival families because that happens in the movie. And then any type of shady deals, because people were doing shady deals in that movie. Shady stuff going on. There was a gratuitous killing of somebody. We had no reason. We have no. I hope we get an answer for that if we decide to watch it. I know we're not gonna get an answer for that. I don't know why. I'm tripping. Anyway, let's stick to the freaking point of this thing was to basically take out the red flags of that premise and then put in stuff that I felt that would be able to lead towards a sexy yet dangerous story. So here's my crack at it. Let me get my notes here. I'm putting on my sexy voice again. My husband thinks it's sexy, so we're gonna keep doing it because he likes the sexy voice. So okay, here we go. Here's my crack at the 365 days log line as updated by me with all the problematic elements removed. A woman whose company begins shady dealings with a rival family gets involved with a mafia boss who at first seems to offer protection, but she finds that he's proposing much more. Okay, so I had to keep it short, 32 words. I think that's pretty good for the log line after working through it, trying to clean it up and everything. But would you be interested in a movie like that? Would you be interested in that particular type of story being told, sexy dark story being told, in order to, if you wanted to read it, if you wanted to play around with it? Tell me below. Now, even though it does create a whole new story, obviously, like the premise of the story is not exactly it's not exactly straight up just nothing about romance as they were trying to do with the previous premise, but I was trying just to use the elements that were being offered in the story in the original movie. Now, I'm not going to read the book because I'm sure I'm going to be even more upset because it's probably even worse because they usually take out a lot of stuff from books to movies, but I'm sure there will be some things in there that is going to make me want to shake somebody. So I'm not going to read the book, but I will say that this does not work for every story. There are some great premises out there, and then you watch the movie and you're like, where did y'all drop the ball at? And that's usually because you have to also craft like exciting scenes, events, cast of characters have to be engaging, and you also have to match the stakes that make the readers or watchers take a nosedive into your story. I mean, if you don't do that, you're going to lose them. So working out the overall premise is just a way to kind of help with the beginnings, to help guide you through the story, in which that's what this little one sentence premise story does for me. It helps me move from one to the other. And I will say Netflix has another gem called Fatal Affair. And in that one, I will tell you that I thought that premise was freaking great. I get it 3 times. A lawyer is caught in a terrifying game of cat and mouse when a drink with an old friend escalates into an obsession that jeopardizes everyone she loves. Now, I will say that snatched my attention. I was like, oh yeah, we watching this. Ew, no, it was full of lies and deception. Okay, if y'all have seen Fatal Affair, lies and deception. No. It's always possible to have a great pitch that leads to a bad story. So, I mean, I understand it. I'm not going to sit here and say that all my pitches are going to lead to great stories. But the exercise of taking that bad premise from 365 and updating it to something that I felt would be a better representative of a story that would not make me want to cringe when I'm watching it, it just helps me kind of like focus and tackle any issues from the beginning. So that's why I think having a premise is really good to start with. And I will say that I'm very interested in writing a mafia style story. And obviously I will put some paranormal elements in there because, I mean, why not spice it up, please? But do you have any log lines that you would like to practice reworking? If you got any bad ones and you want to play around with it in the comments, please do. What one sentence summary changes would you make to 365 days to start a new, maybe more sexy or a less problematic story? Tell me. I hope you enjoyed this video and this little rambly thing that I just did. If you like what I'm doing here, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. You never know when I show up again. I have plans for a whole bunch of other stuff because I've been writing this whole time. But you don't know when I'm going to actually be able to sit down and stay in one position in order to write it. And well, actually just read it out, I guess. And if you really like what I'm doing here, you can feel free to buy me a coffee on Ko-fi. And I also have like little things that say like, oh yes, this journal. So I have a lovely journal here. It has no lines. So it's definitely okay because I definitely still fill in my notes and everything. I don't mind it at all because I do like, sketches and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like bad for me, but hey, whatever floats your boat. But the link will be down in the description below. If you want to actually subscribe. But I do hope you enjoyed the video again. And again, this is your second reminder. I like Mr. GG. Please leave a like. I don't know if he's done it in a while. Subscribe. And I do hope you have a wonderful day. And bye-bye.